involved with the Fourth Industrial Revolution Education Subcommittee in a nonprofit based in Chicago. She is a graduate student in cybersecurity. She is working on her pathway called Strategic Relationships, which helps in understanding how to talk to diverse populations, audiences, network, and build a public relations strategy. Her project is to redo her speech about the benefits of diversity based on feedback. So please help me welcome Yara Slavin.
Thank you. So Toastmasters, I'm so excited to talk to you guys today because I have had to adapt during this pandemic. So while I was sleeping and my husband was dutifully watching the children, he laughed as my oldest son cut my hair. And I had to adapt very quick during this pandemic, just like all of us, all of the human race has had to adapt during this global pandemic. Luckily, I was able to adapt, but I credit my early childhood education in a diverse environment in the Middle East in which I was constantly exposed to people from different cultures 24/7. I had so much diversity in the school. I had a lot of Arab classmates who would ride to school in limousines, but I'm American, so I took the bus. I also had classmates from Japan, Switzerland, all over. As an adult, I've seen how this has benefited my life, so I put my money where my mouth is. In the United States, we keep talking about diversity, but in my opinion, the progress hasn't happened fast enough. I love diversity and I want to see more people in the decision-making table. So I'm going to talk to you about how diversity doesn't just benefit the marginalized and the minorities, but it benefits the privileged and the majority. So what's another benefit to diversity besides the adaptability skills you can get if your child decides to cut your hair? There's many more ways that diversity will benefit you. In fact, it lights up multiple regions of the brain. There's a doctor called Dr. Majid Fatuhi, who he has a book called Boost Your Brain. And he talks about that it's a myth that adult learners have to learn slower. The brain has a lot of plasticity. We as adults or children can learn a lot of new things. Forbes Middle East just had an article about how Warren Buffett made a lot of his profit after the age of 50. The leader of KFC made a lot of money, which I love money, at an older age. So besides the cognitive benefits of diversity, we have multiple countries investing in flying cars, and they've been investing in that. Technology will continue to bring us to other people around the world and make new friends. But the reality is there's a discomfort with many people in the United States to talk to people who are different than them. So I urge more people to embrace diversity, diversify the schools, diversify organizations. If you feel a discomfort with a diverse environment, that doesn't mean that you should step away from diversity. When you're learning something new, the brain is like a muscle. Cognitive flexibility, executive functioning, and your inhibitory control, multiple ways of the brain benefit from diversity. So to not get too technical, as my excellent mentor, Dr. Hasib, talks about, multiple regions of the brain basically are benefited from diversity. If you want to be prepared in the Fourth Industrial Revolution, if you want to be prepared to talk to people all over the globe, if you're uncomfortable at first, think about what happens when you're jogging. When you're first jogging, it's kind of uncomfortable if you haven't done it in a long time. I did jumping jacks this morning and I felt like my hips were hurting because I'm in quarantine during the pandemic. However, that's because the brain, when it learns new things, has a reaction. So even though diversity may make people uncomfortable at first, that doesn't mean they should stray away from it. In fact, you should actively be seeking diverse people in your social circle. And that includes people with socioeconomic diversity. So the rapper Tupac has a quote, "Make $1 out of 15 cents." I argue that socioeconomic diversity is very important because you want people that are resourceful. During a pandemic, there's a strain on resources for some people, and they have to learn how to be efficient. So think about having someone from a different perspective in your organization. It benefits you even if you are privileged, even if you are in the majority. And if your kids are in school, it benefits your children. Someday they might go in a flying car and fly somewhere like Bangladesh or Colombia or anywhere, and they're going to have to talk to people who are different and entertain them. So I argue not just for the cognitive benefits, but for preparing in an age with flying cars, we must have diversity in our school systems. Many things will be automated. Multiplication tables are not good enough anymore to prepare for the future. They are predicting, multiple sources are predicting, that what is going to be a skill that's essential for the future are skills that cannot be automated. The human condition, the human element. Even in cybersecurity, what is one of the main threats? Social engineering. So the human element will continue to be imperative, and we must focus on what makes us human. The more we have diversity in an organization, the more we can focus on what makes us human. And the more we will have less people embarrassing us Americans on 90 Day Fiancé because they go to a country like No Neck Ed and they don't know the culture. Thank you.